G'day everyone, Daniel Anderson here. Now the flow of work is a topic that is getting a lot of attention at the moment, and having the ability for users not to break their flow to either find some resources or to find expertise, or even now actually learn and get trained or find out how to do something in their natural flow of work. Now, today's topic is going to be all around Viva Learning. Now, Viva Learning brings that learning into a user's flow of work by being able to discover, share, recommend, and learn from content libraries across your organization or from external learning providers as well. Now, it seamlessly integrates this learning content into the places where employees are already spending their time, and that's Microsoft Teams. So really keeping users in the context of where they are in their natural flow of work and being able to then surface this learning content so that they don't need to break that flow. Now, Viva Learning allows users to be able to discover and share and easily search for content from and then also share content inside Microsoft Teams chats, either one-on-one chats or group chats, or even we can curate learning inside of Teams, inside of different channels as well, and we can surface that up through Teams channel tabs, which we're going to take a look at. So let's dive in and have a look around at what Viva Learning is, what it looks like, how we can set it up, and then how you can make use of this across your organization. So what we can see here, I'm inside of Microsoft Teams here, as we all know. Now, on the left-hand side, what we're going to see starting to appear is Viva Learning, and you can see this new little icon here. Now, I'm going to just click on this icon. It's going to launch Viva Learning for the first time here. And we can see that we've got a landing page. We can do some browsing, and by default, what we can see, we've got a number of 3 providers here. We've got LinkedIn Learning, which is the free content from LinkedIn Learning. You can access the paid version as well, but you do need a subscription for that. And one thing to note here is that personal subscriptions won't, if you do have a personal subscription, then that's not going to surface through here either. It needs to be an organization subscription to be able to access this external content too. Now, you can see that we've got the M365 training as a content source, and we've also got Microsoft Learn as a content source here. Now, these are all there by default. So we can see, we can browse, we can enter, and we can have a look at more details of a particular course here. We can even share this course via Teams, either to individuals or to teams and channels, and we can do that via this dialog box. We can open it up in LinkedIn Learning, and we can even bookmark this. So if I bookmark this course, I can jump into this My Learning tab here, and you can see that I've got a bookmark section. So when I come across learning materials or courses that I find useful, then I can bookmark these, and it's going to appear in this bookmark section. I can see which courses I've recently viewed. I can even see if any have been recommended to me as well. Now, this completed tab here is a completed courses from my organization, or the LMS are going to show up here as well. Now, if I just jump back onto the home page here, and we can see that we can browse either by providers, or we can browse by duration of a particular course here as well. And we've got just a little bit of some tips here where I can pick my interests. So I might want to interest in these 3 here, and I'm going to save this setting here, and it's going to present some courses based on those saved interests. All right, we can even edit these interests as well, and that gives us the ability to curate basically our own type of content that we want to see as well. Now, from an administration side, if I'm a global admin, or I've also got the knowledge administrator role here as well, we can jump into the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, And under the settings, org settings section, we've now got a Viva Learning section here as well that we can administer. You'll see that when I click on that, it's going to open up in the panel on the right-hand side. And we've got a few settings that we can look at here. Now, you will have noticed that LinkedIn Learning, Microsoft Learn, and Microsoft 365 training were enabled by default. But here, we've also got the option to be able to select SharePoint. And this is a really interesting option here, because what we can do is we can have and enter a URL of a SharePoint site for the entire organization's learning content. So it's basically a Microsoft list that acts as a catalog to all of our internal learning material, and we can then surface that through LinkedIn Learning as well. Now, what we're asked to do here is provide a SharePoint URL. Now, I've got this site here, so I'm just going to copy the URL of this site, and I'm going to paste this site in as the URL. Now, what's going to happen here is this is automatically going to create a content catalog or a learning catalog for me in that particular site. So if I just jump over into this site now, and I'm going to go into site contents, what we will see is a new list that is going to get provisioned for us automatically. And we'll just wait for that to come through here. I'll just refresh the page one more time. It still hasn't been provisioned, so let's do it again. There it is here. So you can see here, I've got a learning app content repository. And when I click on this learning app content repository, you can see I've got basically two columns here. All right, the title and also the folder URL. Because in what we can do now is we can add multiple different list items and point that to a folder that we populate with all of our learning material. All right. So again, here, what I've got, and I've already pre-done this, I've got a document library here called training material, and I've structured this with different folders. And inside of these different folders, I have my learning material, because again, what we might want to do is secure these resources down to specific groups or specific people and have those training materials then appear for the right people through Viva Learning. All right. So let's say I've got this Microsoft 365 folder. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to grab the link to this folder, and I'll change it to the view setting here. I'll copy this link. Now, in the learning app content repository, I'm going to add a new item. So here I'm going to add Microsoft, I might go internal Microsoft 365 learning, and I'm going to paste the URL of that folder to this list item. Now, it's also recommended, and just to add a little bit more descriptive content to each of these, is that we add a description column. So I'm going to add a new column here called description, and we're going to save that, because when that appears through Viva Learning, we would just want to add a little bit more context and a little bit more information to this particular learning material. So what we're going to do here, I'm just going to add all about Microsoft 365 internal training, and we will save that now. So now, what we've now got is we've got our first item in our content repository that is now pointing to a training materials document library, and in particular, this Microsoft 365 folder. Now, let's just go through and add a few more folders here. So I've also got a PowerPoint file here in the marketing team folder. Now, again, what's interesting to note here that it doesn't just have to be video content. So we can have Word documents, PowerPoint documents, Excel, PDFs, audios, so M4As, video content, which in the format of MOVs, MP4s, and also AVIs as well. So this one in the marketing team, you can see I've got a PowerPoint presentation. So let's also now add a link to this folder to the marketing training. We'll just copy the link. I'll jump over to the Learning App Content Repository. Let's add a new item here. We'll paste the link to the folder. We'll give this a title of marketing training. And again, we might just put internal as the title here, and we'll save that now. All right. So now we've got two items in our content, in our Learning App Content Repository, that are now pointing to our internal training resources inside of this document library. And what's really great about this is that we can have training materials from around the organization. So it doesn't just have to be a single document library. So think about different scenarios where different departments or functional areas of an organization have their own training material. What we can do is use this, the content repository Microsoft list, and point to those libraries or those repositories where we're actually storing our training material. Now, how does this get surfaced up inside of Viva Learning? Well, let's dive in and have a look at how that now gets presented. Okay, now that we've got our Learning App Content Repository set up, which is that list that is now pointing to the folders that are housing our learning material, we've waited around about 20 hours in my case for everything to get sorted in the back end, and now we're ready to set up and give access to our content inside of Viva Learning. So we can see here, I'm in Viva Learning. I'm going to head up to the three little dots in the top right hand corner here, and also then click the settings icon. Now, once we click the settings icon, you can see we've got a couple of different things here. Now, this is only available for knowledge admins or global admins. And here is where we can access our organization Learning App Content Repository from within SharePoint, and we can provide references to the cross-organizational document libraries that we've set up. So the content, as I said before, the content within these libraries will then be surfaced through the learning content inside of Viva Learning. So under the permissions tab here, we can see that if we do have the appropriate permissions, so global or knowledge admin, we can add the additional content of the organization's SharePoint Learning App Content Repository in here. So what we're going to do here, we're just going to check access. We do have access here, and that takes me to the Learning App Content Repository. All right, so there we go there. Now, let's just check back in here. I'm just going to now scroll down here, and we can see now that under the providers tab here, we've now got our organization as one of these providers. And we can see that is in combination with LinkedIn Learning, Microsoft 365 Training, and also Microsoft Learn that are just there by default. And we can see here that we've got the different types of learning material as well. So we've got the PowerPoint presentation, we've got videos, and we've also got a PDF. So what we might do here is we're just going to click on one of these now, and these actually do also get their own details page here. So we can see that where it's coming from, and you can see that it tells me that this content is coming from the SharePoint, from the company's SharePoint library. And also we've got the ability here now to open this up inside of Teams, and that's going to then play that file or that video directly inside of Teams. So we've still got the same functionality. We can bookmark it, we can share it. We can see here that we can share it like we can with any of the other content, but this content is now being surfaced from our own internal repository. So let's now take a look at what the other types of content do here. So let's click on this PowerPoint presentation, and you can see here that we are again taken to a landing page for this particular piece of content. And let's go back. Let's now also take a look at the OneDrive. And there we go there. So we now have access to all of our internal resources that we've made available through document libraries, and also then through this the Learning App Content Repository list. So this is the one that is pointing to those locations. So a great way to surface all of your internal training materials inside of Viva Learning. And again, what the really good thing about this is, it means that we can have training resources located in different locations across the organization, and then we can connect those via this content repository and have all of that surfaced inside of Viva Learning. Okay, let's take a look now at how we can set up a curated learning experience for our team inside of Microsoft Teams using Viva Learning. So we can see here, I'm just on the landing page of Viva Learning, but I want to specifically look at setting up a tab inside of in our sales and marketing channel, where I can curate some great resources for my team to be able to learn from and access nice and easily. So I'm jumping into sales and marketing, and I'm going to add this as a tab in the general channel. So let's jump up to the plus icon, and we will choose Viva Learning from this tab. And here, what we can do is we can search for, first of all, we can name the tab. So what we might do here is let's just add some sales training here. All right, so what I want to do is curate some content for my team all around sales. So let's have a look at and find some courses around sales. So you can see here that I've got a couple from LinkedIn Learning. There might be some from different sources as well if we had any other sales content through here. And then what we can do is, let's just add a couple more just for the purpose of this. And we'll add here, and we'll now save that. So now what's happening is we're setting up this Viva Learning tab. We've named it as sales training, and we've curated some training materials just for our team that I think is going to be relevant and beneficial to this team. And you can see we've now got this tab called sales training. Here are all of my videos that I just selected. Now we might want to add another tab. So let's add another tab now around a different topic. So what we might do here is we might do Microsoft 365, let's say, and let's go and do a search for some material and some content on Microsoft 365. All right, 6 simple steps, looks good. Let's have a look at exploring Microsoft Teams, and let's also go data governance, and we'll save this as well. So now what we're doing is setting up a second tab. All right, all again around learning, but now we've got Microsoft 365 learning. All right, so here we've got sales training, here we've got Microsoft 365 training, and as a user, I might also want to bookmark this. So I'll bookmark this one. Let's bookmark some sales one as well, and that directly then adds that to my bookmarking tab inside of Viva Learning. Now let's just right click this and pin this to the app bar, and we'll click Viva Learning. Now here, as we saw previously, we can also now, you can see I've got a bookmark tab here when I go to My Learning, and the ones that I've just bookmarked also become available in my personal experience as well, even though I did that from the team that I was associated with. All right, so not only can we give our end users the ability to find their own training, we can also, as team admins, curate some content specifically for our team and make that available to them through those tabs inside of that team. Now, what about sharing these training materials with individuals or even inside group chats or teams and channels? One of the features of Viva Learning is being able to share this content that we find that we think might be useful for others, or give others some visibility over things that we've found beneficial to us as well. So one of the great features here is after if I'm browsing for content or anything like that, you'll always see this little share button here. And what we can do here is we can either copy the link, we can email it and do our communications that way, or we can hit the Teams button here and a dialog box is going to open up and we can automatically search for somebody. We might think that Alex, this is relevant for Alex and let's say Nesta. So we're going to start a little group chat here and let's write something. Great resource here. And you can see I've already got a group chat with these two in it. It's made use of that automatically for me, and I'm going to share that. So that's going to send a Teams message to those two people inside that group chat about this resource that I think would be useful for them. Now, the other thing we can do also as well that you may have seen is utilize the teams or channels. So we might say Mark 8 project team. This is going to be good for that particular team, and we're going to put it in the go-to-market plan, all right, channel. So let's share that there. All right, and let's have a look at how that appears inside of the team. So if we jump into Teams, we'll go to the Mark 8 project team, the general channel here. Actually, it was the go-to-market channel that I pasted it in, and here's the link. I can click that link here, and I'm taken directly to Viva Learning and also to that particular training material or that module that I've shared there. And you can see that I've got a number of different options. I can bookmark again. I can open it in the browser. I can share it. I've got some related courses here too. So there's some more content being surfaced here, and also more courses from Microsoft Learning. So a great little way there to organically share learning materials and content across the organization by using this share button, and also it being able to share it with individuals, with a group of people, or even post it to a Teams channel as well.